That was as embarrassing as you can get. You know, it's funny. Nick Sirianni, I mean, he looks like dead man walking. I mean, anybody with any kind of common sense, if I'm walking off to the sidelines, and I see that guy in front of me, I'm walking the other way. You know why I'm walking the other way? Because I don't want to hear anything pathetic out of his mouth. And then get this, that defense that you guys thought was addressed. Well, wait a minute. You got to look up to the yachtsman's captain. What'd you think? $2 linebackers? That overrated Huff? I'm going to start calling him HR Huff and Puff. Nolan Smith? Nolan Smith needs to put about 3 bricks in his pocket so he doesn't get killed by tight ends. And then my favorite of all time, man, before I get Angelo Cataldi on, this has to be something that, can you imagine Angelo? Oh my God, wait a minute. Can you imagine Angelo on the air on WIP when you got a turd like Darius Slay doing this? And that ain't me. That's those dudes. I mean, hey, I didn't make Baker Mayfield look like Joe Montana. 2 games in a row, too, Junior. Hey, not me. You're a captain, too? Oh. Holy cow. Wonder what Brian Dawkins thinks of that. But then again, the identity of the Eagles is Darius Slay. Everyone's in it for themselves. The coaching of Jalen Hurts is pathetic. Hurts is 2022. 27 turnovers in 20 games. Why are you coaching him like this? God, we miss this guy. Holy shit. My God almighty, would he have been in the principal's office after a day like this? And by the way, back in the day when that old asshole PD, who I can't stand, he's the guy that told me I can't bring you to Philly, okay? And I was like, why? He goes, well, you're too harsh. I go, the guy in the morning you got is harsher than me. And plus, you keep guys on longer than the minute with the light bulb. I can't think Angelo ever went with the light bulb for the guy that went like this. You're keeping your collars on too long. The book is made for Philly. There's no way Angelo went with the light bulb in the studio. There's not a chance. Let's bring the legend on.
No.
And here he is, Angelo Cataldi. Last week I had a shot to bring Angelo on, so I said, let me get Marcus Hayes on. I want to save Angelo because I want to see what's going to happen Sunday. And so I wanted to do that, and that's why I did that. By the way, before we get started, there's not a chance in hell you went by the rule of the light bulb in the IP studios.
It's in the book. I didn't go by the rule. In fact, at one point, I actually twisted off the light bulb and handed it to my program director. Now, I didn't tell him where to put it, but it was implicit in the way I handed it to him. All right. Yeah, no, that wasn't my game. I don't follow rules really that exactly. But I got to be honest. I would have come on. I would have happily come out last week. I couldn't do it early in the week. I was so dehydrated from being in New Orleans. Little did I know it would be even hotter in Tampa. All right. But the minute I saw 108 heat index in Tampa,
it was over.
Thought of the middle of the Eagles defensive line, those 2 Georgia kids who are really fat. And I said, they're not going to make it. And would they even I mean, I didn't see them. They weren't the guys that played the previous week in New Orleans, and conditioning absolutely had one thing. But Dan, this was the easiest game to assess you could ever get. Todd Bowles had his team ready to play, all right? Had great game plans on both sides of the ball, great game plans, and obliterated the Philadelphia Eagles. This was textbook great coaching versus horrible coaching. And yeah, I'll put Moore and Fangio in the box with Nick Sirianni. That was as bad as it gets. And there's a Nick watch today. Marcus Hayes, ironically, was on with you. He announced in his column yesterday that we're now watching Nick to see if or when he gets the old guillotine. And yeah, I've been on that watch a while. If I had the show to do today, I would have called for the firing of Nick Sirianni. The problem is it wouldn't have been the first time. I would have done it at the end of last season too. Nick Sirianni can't coach. And he benefited only by the absolute insanity of New Orleans a week ago. If New Orleans had coached any kind of a game a week ago, the Eagles would be on a 3-game losing streak right now. I was in New Orleans. I got to see from the perspective of literally the end zone looking down. And I couldn't believe how awful the New Orleans coaching was that day with Dennis Allen. I've never seen. The Eagles lost Lane Johnson in the first quarter of the New Orleans game. And not one single time did New Orleans blitz where Fred Johnson, the backup, was, and they didn't exploit it all. Yesterday, Bowles went right after Johnson in the fourth quarter with more time to play. He had given up 8 pressures. 8 pressures. Dude, it's just coaching. One team's ready, one isn't. And let me lead you in on something. Nick Sirianni's team is never ready. They haven't scored a point in the first quarter yet.
The effort level, Angelo. I mean,
it's not there.
It's just what I mean, I don't even know why they got off the bus.
Right. And then if you want a smacked ass, all right, well, you'd like to see a smacked ass. Watch Nick Sirianni say that the embarrassment of yesterday will bring his team closer together. How come it didn't work last year? They lost 6 out of 7. It didn't bring them together. Now it's going to bring them together? Why? Based on what? It's you know, Dan, I have decided not to really, always want the Eagles to win because I want to live in a happy city. But this year, from this point on, I'm going to look at it like a sitcom. And I'm just going to laugh as Sirianni circles the drain, because Sirianni will be fully unmasked this year. He doesn't know what he's doing. And you'll see it now. Now the city is coming to life. Welcome to the bandwagon. Thank you. He is done at the end of the year, but he survived the bye week because he won that game in New Orleans. I don't think he would have survived, Dan. I think they would have had to get rid of him if New Orleans understood what they were doing last week and did the same thing to him that the other people have done. That defense is so bad. Oh,
are they the worst 2-2 team in the league?
Yeah. Well, I haven't monitored all the other 2-2 teams,
but that defense has to make you at least put them in the top or bottom 5.
It's so bad. And the thing was, you know, they had one good game against New Orleans, and I watched New Orleans game plan, and I didn't see it. I was looking at him going, do you realize the Eagles don't cover anybody in the middle of the field? Do you realize you have them where you want them when you're 3rd and 7? Because they leave everybody wide open. They give you 10 yards off your wide receivers, just throw an out pattern to them. No, it's bad. This is bad. And the fact that coach, after collapsing historically last year, said that the loss yesterday will help them because they'll get much closer. What kind of an ass thinks that way? Oh,
no.
There's that way.
Nobody would think that. And tell me this, Angelo, don't you see to me, when I look at the first 4 games this year, tell me how and why it looks any different than 23's ending. Doesn't it look like the same team?
Including Hurts. And I've been really nice to Hurts, but I got to admit, you just gave a very damning statistic, Dan. 27 turnovers in 20 games.
Here, let me give you one more. That's since the start of 2023.
Yeah.
You know who's got a higher quarterback rating than him? Justin Fields.
Well, the thing is, his pocket awareness is not great.
Terrible.
Yeah, when the pocket is collapsing, he doesn't protect the ball. He doesn't see these guys, and they strip him. And it's happening a lot. And I still believe in him. But
Angelo, is he regressing since he got the money? Has he regressed?
Clearly he has. Statistically, there's no question he has. But I still, I mean, he was without his major weapon. Here's the next thing. All right. This is so basic. And this, I guess, is Kellen Moore. I can't tell anymore because Sirianni overruled Kellen Moore the week before, which was one of the most asinine things I've ever heard. But whoever's decided it. So I don't have my best two receivers, right? Paris Campbell is my best wide receiver, all right? So I'm thinking, all right, you know what I'm going to do? It's funny. I was with the great Ray Dininger on Friday. I said, Ray, who's going to win that game? Said he said the Eagles are going to win because he said, oh, they're just going to hand the ball to Saquon Barkley. Said the Tampa's run defense stinks. Just hand him the ball. He got 2 carries in the first 3 series. Those are the scripted plays. I get 2 carries. And you go, well, I guess the Eagle coaches didn't say, well, we got one good weapon. Why don't we use them? They went, no, let's see if we can force this thing into Paris Campbell and a whole bunch of some guy, Ross, I don't even know who he is. Let's just force the ball into these hacks and give Saquon Barkley 2 touches in the first 3 series. It's 24-0 before he does anything. How stupid is that?
Angelo, here's something that bugs me when I watch the way that they construct the game plan. I heard him mentioning it. They go like this, well, we have conversations on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And I'm like, all those game plans that you put together on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday have nothing to do with in-game adjustments. No. And it makes me go with applied analytics.
Right.
And what I mean by that is it's one thing to have a play sheet of what you think the top plays are that you want to have, but it's another thing to go off the analytic chart that you've been given by the owner's kid for you to make that game plan on, for you to sit there and go, well, we're going to be over aggressive. Even when I don't have my entire offensive line, I don't have all my weapons. It just shows you how they don't really have a feel for the game, no matter if it's Kellen Moore or if it's Brian Johnson. Angelo, it really doesn't matter if it's Vic Fangio's system or Sean Desai's. These guys are dictated. They're trying to win a championship from the owner's box, and they're not going to do this.
Yeah, they're not. They're not. Anybody that thinks they're anywhere close to the level of a championship is delusional. All right, it's delusional. Is there talent there? Yeah, there's talent, but it's disjointed. It doesn't work together. It appears there's some sort of morale things going on. Even today, or yesterday, when Hurts was asked about his relationship with Sirianni, he kind of pushed away from it. He doesn't like his head coach. That's abundantly clear. And Saquon has been hinting that he doesn't think Sirianni should get involved in the offense at all, because when he does, it tends to go south. It doesn't work. And so, but see, this is what happens when the ownership picks the coordinators. These guys are not Sirianni's people. Sirianni's original people were his, Steichen and Gannon. And boy, Gannon looked great yesterday, didn't he? He didn't get run over.
By the way, he ends up getting a kid killed. Then he puts him back in the game, and he runs him on the first play and almost got him killed again. And I'm going like, dude, you might want to look out for your first-round draft choice. Right. What was that? And it took a backup to come in and win that game. I was like, holy cow, was that poorly handled?
Right. No, the problems here start at the very top, the meddling of the owner and the general manager, and the ineptitude of the head coach, who was brought here to be a yes man, and is finding out that it's not going to work. It's not going to work.
Angelo, Howie Roseman now. I mean, yeah. I brought this up in the first hour. And you're right on Vic, but this is what I've been telling people today. You knew that he plays 2-eye safety. He doesn't bring pressure. You know that he likes to play base, and he has multiple coverages and fronts that he has post-snap. You know who he is, just like you knew Brian Johnson and Sean Desai were limited in their skill set of a year ago. So you know that. Well, if you're Howie You don't get a proper edge rusher in Brian Burns. You don't go out and get Xavier McKinney or Justin Simmons to play safety for you. You don't get Patrick Queen to play linebacker because you don't want to spend the money. When does it get to a point where you look at the architect instead of just sitting here going like this? Because the architect's got something to do with the hirings,
Right.
and the architect has a lot to do with the building of the defense. I mean, they didn't do anything. I never thought they addressed the defense whatsoever. And I think that's where you were with the 5 wins that,
Right.
hey, it's nice that you drafted a couple guys, but let's take a look at that too, Angelo. Smith's a bust. Huff is a bust in free agency. The 2 tackles are underperforming. Dean stinks. You got Zach Bond. I don't know. You got a corner out there on an island who's an old guy, and the other guys are young, and you're limited at your safety position. How did you address this?
Well, the Huff one is going to hound him. The Huff one's that's going to really kind of focus in on how he's talent analysis. All right, Huff it, because
51 million.
51 million for Huff, and the guy that they traded, they got rid of Hassan Reddick for him, and Reddick hasn't played yet, and the stats pretty close match. Huff has played 4 games and done nothing.
How about this, Angelo? Sunday, 33 snaps. He had 1 tackle.
Oh, no, yeah. When you look at people like that, you say to yourself, well, you don't like linebackers. Then you better get some edge rushes, right? The best guy on the field defensively for the Eagles yesterday again was 36-year-old Brandon Graham. Brandon Graham there. They bringing this old guy out. He's still fighting his ass off. He's got more fight than the other 10 of them combined. Is that unbelievable?
Absolutely.
The guy was drafted 15 years ago. He's the only guy left who knows how to play defense.
How do you think the owner's dealing with this as of right now? What's his position right now? Because, I mean, you have to look at him and go like this. Okay, I mean, is he questioning? He already knows the head coach is a question. Is he questioning the GM? Is he questioning the quarterback?
No.
Tell me what you think he's thinking.
He plays by process of elimination. So he's all right. I got to start. We got to look at this now. This is not going well. Let's start with me, the owner. Oh no, I'm doing amazing. All right, that's definitely not me. All right. Howie, did you get my shoes shined yet? You did. Okay. Howie's fine. It's not a problem with Howie. This talent here. Nick, we made a great choice the first couple of years, but maybe he doesn't wear well in the locker room. Maybe we can blame him some. And then now we got to blame the coordinators. Well, those were also Lurie's hires, Lurie and Roseman's hire. So, but again, Lurie's doing amazing. Don't get me wrong. And Howie's great. So these guys have all let him down. They're going to have these guys. It's going to be a house cleaning. When Sirianni goes, these guys are probably going with him. Unless the offense shows you something and they want to keep Moore around as your head coach. Otherwise, they're going to have to sweep all that clean and bring in a whole new set of people who will relentlessly kiss the owner's ass. All right? They will again. Here's what will happen. They'll have 10 more interviews. They'll each go about 15 hours apiece. Lurie will come out after every interview going, oh my God, what a thorough investigation we're doing to get the right cut. He'll do the same crap. And then he'll pick the guy with the least amount of experience who will do whatever he tells him. That's the way this works. That is not a recipe for success.
How about this, Angelo? And I didn't think about it until this weekend when I was actually texting you. Do you think it'll make it easier for the owner to fire Nick Sirianni if Doug Peterson doesn't survive the year in Jacksonville? Because, like you say, he loves perception. He loves the fact that he wants his guy to look like I made the right decision on moving on from Doug. So if Doug gets canned first and he gets canned, he's 0-4 now. Yeah. Does that make that move now look a little bit better that he fired him with a winning record and after the fact?
Yeah, I hadn't thought of it that way. I'm really surprised by 0-4, but Trevor Lawrence is really not playing well. That's a big story there in Jacksonville. Yeah, it will. It will, because those are the kind of things they look at and go, "What?" It's not like
Isn't it crazy, Angelo? We got to look like
Yep.
look like conspiracy guys here, because you can't look and talk like a football guy, because you
No,
got to look at what makes the owner look good. And I'm
that's all
trying to
it
be
is.
football, but that's not a football move, but it's a Lori move.
The truth is, Lurie's been the owner for 30 years, and he doesn't know football. He doesn't know the game. You understand? He thinks he does. He thinks he knows people. No, he doesn't. He just keeps bringing in guys who kiss his ass. You gotta, you want to hear the funniest thing? Anytime you want to be amused, read the rumors that Bill Belichick is coming to Philadelphia. All right,
Not happening.
he is not coming here. Anyone who writes it is a moron. Bill Belichick, they don't want that guy here. First of all, he will make enemies with the entire media crew because he's awful with the media. Secondly, he takes orders from no one.
No one.
So when Lurie tells him, I'm going to do this, Bill will go, "Look, I'll coach. You go up there, count your money. I'll coach." No, he's never coming here. Do you understand? Anyone, just check. Get an X-ray of all 10 of the candidates for the next coach. If they have a backbone, eliminate them, because they're not coming here. You're getting the next Nick Sirianni, the next guy who will kiss their ass and do what he's told. This is a failure at the highest level. And and it's when they're watching that defense, and that defense is getting gouged the way they did in the first 20 minutes of that game. I would love to be able to read their minds and go, "Holy, we screwed up here, man." But they'll never admit it publicly. Never.
Angelo, did they give Jalen Hurts that 250 too soon?
In retrospect, yes. They clearly did, because they had a couple of more years.
They
They
did.
could have certainly seen another year and then made a decision. There was no reason to do it that quickly. And I just don't have a handle on him, Dan. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't.
How about this, Angelo? In the last, since 2023 in the start,
Right.
Baker Mayfield has completely outplayed him. And on top of that, I mean, he's got 2 wins in a row. One is a playoff win. They've scored over 60 points. It's not been close. And I mean, you now have lost 10 of the last 13 ball games. I mean, it's just going in reverse here. I mean, and I don't see it getting any better. He's been wobbling even out of the gate, even with the star players. Like, I'm going to make a point to you, Angelo, and you tell me if you agree or disagree. I think if you had AJ or if you had Devontae in that game on Sunday, maybe Lane is the outlier that would have given you more of an opportunity. But the effort level is what really was the factor. I don't think they win that game with those guys.
No, I don't think they win the game. I think it's more competitive.
It's more competitive.
You get a few first downs in the first series instead of going 3 and out 3 times in a row and being down 24 points. Yeah, I agree. The problem with Hurts is, when I watch Baker Mayfield, I even was with my son-in-law yesterday, and I said to him, "This doesn't even look like the same guy that played."
It doesn't.
And I'm going, "How can that be? He's so confident, and he's quick with the release. He's decisive. He's right on point. He's hitting boom, boom, boom."
And that coordinator had only called 4 games in his entire life.
But clearly, the coaching he has received in Tampa has made him realize his potential. So if I'm going to say that, then I got to at least consider the possibility that what's going on with Hurts the last 2 years is that he doesn't have Steichen there. He doesn't have any coaches that are truly taking advantage of what he brings to the table. And we're exposing his flaws. So I'm still not ready to say to you, it's not going to work. They're out all that money. They're going to have to unload him. I'm not ready to say that the way I was with Wentz. I want to see him with good coaches, which I don't think he's been with yet.
But he'll never be.
Morris brought out the best in him either.
But he'll never be, because here's why. They constantly will change him out
Yep.
No matter what they'll do, they'll constantly change him out. I mean, I look at him right now and I'm just like, where are they going with him right now when you're consistently changing out? Because you know this, Angelo, like you said, if this thing's a bomb, Moore and Sirianni are getting fired. So that's another coordinator, another coach, another process. So I ask you this then. Do you see a carbon copy of the way they handled Carson Wentz the same way they're handling Jalen Hurts?
It's going down the same track. It's going right down the same track. And I was ironic when I was watching yesterday. Not all that many years ago, Todd Bowles was an assistant here. And Todd Bowles is so much of a better coach.
Completely.
You just see what he did to Sirianni in 2 games. The last year's playoff game. And
it looked easy. Yesterday, it looked easy.
But here's the problem with Bowles. Bowles is his own man.
Yeah.
Bowles would not listen and be constantly meddled with by the people upstairs.
Right.
They never seriously considered Bowles as head coach here because Bowles is too single-minded. He's too independent. You understand? You're never going to get a real good coach if all of them are lapdogs for you. It's not going to happen. Bowles, you just watched him yesterday. He was masterful. The way they put the game plan together on both sides of the ball, that was masterful.
With an average team.
Yes. They were 28th ranked defense.
I know. And I'm like, this is not we're not talking about the nine. No. We're not talking about a full, healthy Niner team. We're talking about a team that was hanging, like you said, on both sides of the ball at around 26. And you're hanging it. They're decent, you know?
They're okay. They're not great.
They're not great.
Made them look amazing. And that's why I'm going back to the week before. Because I'll be honest, when I was in New Orleans there, I felt we were being led to slaughter. You know, New Orleans had put 92 points up in the first 2 games. They were phenomenal. And I went, well, the Eagles aren't going to be able to stop that. And they totally stopped it, right? But I'm watching the game and I'm thinking to myself, I think New Orleans is stopping them more than the Eagles defense is. Their game plan was putrid. Terrible. It was bad on both sides. And their adjustments were I didn't see any. So I'm going to just say this. The Eagles have 2 weeks now to figure something out. I have no confidence whatsoever that they will.
This can't be fixed.
But the schedule on the other side of the bye is
it's hard. This is the tough end of the schedule, is the middle of the schedule coming out of it.
Yes. So I think they're going to survive for a few more weeks, and then they're going to hit a wall, and then they're going to obliterate because there's not enough talent there.
Does Sirianni survive the year?
Yeah. Now he does. He wouldn't. I'm telling you, that New Orleans game saved his neck. Even though he coached horribly in the game. He coached horribly in the game. 4th and 3, he's not taking the points. All the dumb decisions he made. And apparently usurping the authority of his offensive coordinator. He got away with it.
I thought that was rectified, Angelo, that Kellen Moore had complete autonomy of the offense. But then we're hearing now that Nick comes in and parachutes in like he did with Brian Johnson. So here, let me show you this.
Just so you know, I think Kellen Moore was surprised too.
Well, here, get this.
He get overruled.
So do you know who's in first place now in the NFC East?
Yeah, the team that belongs there. I watch Washington. They belong.
And Brian Johnson is the quarterback coach along with Cliff Kingsbury with that Jayden Daniels. Jayden Daniels looked like a superstar last week in the last 2 weeks. Those 2 guys. In my opinion, I think this guy looks like the offensive rookie of the year already. And I mean, I know it's way too early. It's the first quarter poll of the season. However, I picked Washington to win the East. Everyone laughed at me. I said, that's my dark horse. I think they're going to win the East. And people ask me why. I go, well, because I don't believe in Philly. I just don't. And I don't believe in Dallas. Dallas is a 5-win team too. Yeah. And sure enough, it's playing out this way here. And how can you be a coordinator in Philly when you know you've got a head coach, Nick Sirianni, that no matter what you say or no matter what plays you run, he's going to come in and go, well, no, we're not going to run that on 3rd and 3. That 3rd and 3, Angelo, here was my problem with it. The worst thing that could happen would have been what? You stop the clock and you give Atlanta a free timeout. Right. Your enemy was the clock, not the Falcons. You could have ran the ball, burned 25 seconds off, then lined up in fourth down. They can't stop it. You stop it with 5 seconds left. You burn another 20 seconds off, and you're under a minute to give Atlanta a chance to go down and beat you. And I'm thinking to myself, the worst thing that happened, hey, Barkley catching the ball, game's over. Great. Well, I'm not doing that. I'm playing the safest thing and taking the element of disaster away. That organization doesn't think like that.
No. And that's why they're not going anywhere. I want to go back to Jayden Daniels for a second, because I was watching him too, and I'm marveling. And he is being coached brilliantly. It's clear by what's happened. He's a rookie doing these things. If you put Jayden Daniels on the Eagles and Jalen Hurts on Washington with the coaches that are here now, would Hurts be doing some of that in Washington?
Yes.
And would Daniels be hitting the wall the way Hurts is here with these coaches?
Well, here, if you remember right, there was a 3-year contract on the table for Cliff Kingsbury for him to come, but I think the deal breaker was he wanted to bring his own offensive line coach into the organization, and the Eagles balked at that, and they said no, and they didn't want to give him the authority to bring his own coaches in.
But do you, that kid, look, there's no way he can be this good. All right. No one's ever been this good. Right. What's he got? Like an 80% completion rate.
I know.
He's just so good, but he's so fun to watch because he's so talented. And you say to yourself, yeah, he's great. But a rookie being that good, that fast, that's a reflection of his coaching. And his coaching has been, they're doing an amazing job right now in Washington. They really are. And here, they are not doing an amazing job at all.
Last question for you. How do you see the rest of the year playing out?
Well,
remember, you got a number. You got a number, 5 wins.
I'm staying with the 5, but I do think they're going to come out of this with a couple of wins in the next 4. They're going to tease you maybe 4-4, something like that. And then guess what? Those 2 Washington games, they both look like losses now. I had them as one of the wins was a Washington. It's not a win. It's definitely not a win. Dan, you can't win in the NFL with a coach this bad. That's the bottom line. You can't. And we are watching, hopefully, the final 13 games of Nick Sirianni's tenure as Eagles coach. That's what I hope and expect.
How are the Eagles controlling so much of the media in this market by placating to the head coach and to the owner?
They're not controlling Marcus Hayes. Marcus Hayes, God bless him.
Not. I loved listening to him yesterday.
The rest of the guys, they need some testicular power there. You know, they need to grow a couple of balls and actually say something the way their forefathers did in Philadelphia media. And I'll include myself as one of the forefathers. Boys, grow up here, will you please? Jesus, you saw what we saw. Report it. Point the finger. Hold these guys accountable. The city deserves that.
Angelo, in a city of enormous cannolis, they're now serving those mini cannolis.
They really are. I'm telling you right now, you need a magnifying glass to see the balls in this town.
Bad. Folks, make sure you get the book. It's a must read. Also, it's also on audio as well. And tell the folks how they can get a hold of the website.
Website. I write every week a lot of the stuff I'm saying right here with Dan. Go to AngeloCataldi.com. You can get the book there. You get the audio book there. And you can read my blog for free every week. I offer my thoughts. And it's not as fun as it is talking to you, though, Dan. You're the best.
Thank you so much, Angelo. Tell the wife we said hi. Thank you, my friend.
See you soon.
You got it. That is our friend Angelo Cataldi, WIP icon. Oh, woo! What happened? I have the milk carton participants from this past week coming up. Also, by the numbers. We haven't done that yet. What a train wreck. What an absolute colossal train wreck. All right, where are we on the like list here? Holy cow. Angelo, let you have it. How many likes do we have? By the way, hey, Zander, we missed some super chats. I want to make sure we get those super chats before we take a timeout because you guys have been great. Cody, Howie and the head coach are the problem. This team has zero identity. We have our moments. You do. That comment was deafening. A bunch of individuals, the word team and Eagles don't belong together. Wow. That's old school right there, Philly. Next one, Zander. Zero effort. Nick's a yes man. He ain't going nowhere. I got to agree with you, Cody. Thank you. Todd Bowles' game plan was to take Barkley out and put the ball in Hurts' hands. That's exactly what I said. Make Hurts beat you. He can't. He can't beat you. Stills, would Smith or AJ have changed the outcome? I think it would have made it more competitive. I had an issue with the effort that they had in that game. It was the effort. Zander, any more? Think we're good. Guys are great. Appreciate this. Gary Cobb from Fox 29 is going to be at the bottom of the hour as well. All your super chats come to the top and go to the top, I should say. You guys are absolutely killing it today. We can't thank you enough for being here. We're almost at 300 likes. Guys, please hit the like button. We're going to do the milk carton next. What Philadelphia Eagles belong on the milk carton? By the numbers. We're also going to go and look at the game. We're also going to take a look at week 4 of the National Football League. How many milk cartons for IHOP Hurts or Huff? He sucks. He's been a complete disaster. A complete disaster. All right. Please hit the like button. Milk carton Eagles are coming up. By the numbers, Gary Cobb at the bottom of the hour. Zander will be in the 5 o'clock hour. What a day. What an absolute day. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.